Hi, my name is Leighton Jen. I'm the Director of Development for the American Documentary and Animation Film Festival, AmDocs. And our festival this year is going to be March 21st to 25th in beautiful Palm Springs, California. We have a lot of great films, and we have one called Shura, which I think is going to be a fantastic film taking a look at a very important subject. And here we have one of the directors, Kayvon Derak Shanian, and
Correct,
forgive me if I
yes.
pronounced it wrong.
No, that's perfect. Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
Now, can you talk to me about your inspiration of making this film and also how you met Shura? Because she sounds like a remarkable
Oh,
woman.
she is a lovely person. But David Damon, he runs Farm Workers Justice, so he invited me last year to the award show, and one of the persons that went up, it was Shura. They were giving her like a Lifetime Achievement Award, and she started talking about all the stuff that she sees at the border. She was talking about this one story that she saw migrants coming in, and one of them they had no arms, and it was poked in the eyes, and the cartel were doing that to them to send a message, even though he didn't want to carry drugs over the border. And then the way she was explaining it, it was just so emotional. I started getting emotional, and then I thought it was just me. And then I started looking around, and everybody else got emotional. So after the event was over, I went up to her. I said, "Hey, sure, has anyone ever done a documentary on your life?" She said, "No." I said, "I would like to do one if it's possible." And she said, "Sure." So we exchanged numbers. And then the next day, David, who runs the event, the co-director, he called me and said, "Yeah, I heard you're doing a documentary on Shura." He said, "I've been wanting to do the documentary on Shura." I said to David, "If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. This is your thing." He said, "No, it's actually, I'm glad that you're interested, that we can do it together." So that's how I met Shura, and we started doing this. And it was an adventure. Do you want me to like get into
Sure, let's hear it. I'd
okay.
love to hear about this.
So we started shooting last December. Yeah, it was December. Actually, it was Christmas time, day after Christmas time. We started filming, and it was so cold. We went to the Arizona border. I'm sure you've been to Arizona. It gets really cold in the desert. So we had a camera crew in the van that was with Shura, and we got out and started shooting and all that stuff. But by the time they got out and did their exposure and started doing all the lenses and stuff like that, the action was gone. Like you wanted to shoot like the nature, the deer, the dogs, whoever that's like in. We didn't see any humans at all. There was nobody. It was so cold that we didn't see anyone the first couple of times we went out. And then I said, why don't we just like get the camera, keep the camera on, and then when we go outside, the camera's already on, so you don't have to mess with the exposure, and we can start filming. So we did that. Still, it was like it went from cloudy to sun, and you know how it goes back and forth. You gotta change the exposure. And then I saw this really nice deer like running across, and I said, "Oh man, we just messed it." And then I said, "You know what? Let's stop filming on our. Forget about the Sony cameras. They're great cameras, but just forget about them. Take out your phones. Let's shoot everything on the phone." So the whole thing that you see, and at 98% of what you see is shot on iPhone 13 and 14. The only, the only thing that's not shot on it is at the end of the where she's sitting down and talking. That was shot on the Sony because we started doing the interview first, and then we went out with her doing all the stuff. So everything else that you see is all shot on an iPhone. So if you whoever imagines a story that wants to do a film, don't let any obstacles stand in your way. Everyone has a phone. Just take out
Mhm.
your phone. And when I tell people like it's on a DCP one we showed in the theater, afterwards I tell people, "Oh, that was shot on the phone." They go, "No, I don't believe you." And what we show on a DCP is only like a 1080. It's not even a 4K version. So I think it's amazing how the technology, is progressing, because I came from a film world when I went to school,
Mhm.
shooting on 35/16, and it was so expensive. Like every time I wanted to shoot something, it was like $100 a minute. You're shooting, okay, that's enough. We can't afford it anymore. But here, you can keep on shooting as much as you want. So yeah, things have changed.
But that's just great journalism, guerrilla journalism, and just because you're always on the fly and you always have to be ready. And those phones are so portable; it makes it really easy to capture these moments because that's what really makes these films.
Great. What was the best thing about the phone? Is like when you're shooting someone and then you want to have like a shallow depth of field, that you want to have a 2.8 in the background and all that stuff, so the background's out of focus. the phone is makes it so simple. You put it on portrait mode, and then you click on the face. Everything in the background is out of focus. So it looks like you have like an assistant, camera guy pulling focus and all that stuff. But no, it's just your finger like getting different places. It's as simple as that. It's amazing. I wish we had this technology when I was going to school. We would have made
Yeah.
so many films, but it is what it is.
Well, that just means you have more in your toolbox for for other features. What is the most powerful moment you remember of making this movie?
Oh my God. I'm not sure if you've seen the documentary or not.
I have
But
not. I just seen the trailer.
so there's a part that we stumble on these kids that have been, in the desert for, I think, 4 to 5 days. I'm not sure. So one of them is a 5-year-old girl that was walking by herself for almost a week, by herself in the desert for almost a week. When I saw her coming, I don't know. It was I have a girl and I have a boy. As soon as I saw her, I started thinking about shit. What if this was my kid? And I turned around. I couldn't record. I was getting emotional the whole time. To me, that was the hardest thing. I couldn't fathom the fact that as a parents you would. I get it that they want the best thing for their kids. They go to America. Hopefully you'll get adopted, or maybe you can go visit your. I don't know what the circumstances are, but for me, seeing that little girl, her face, and I don't know. It's just I can't really explain why or how, but for me that was like the most emotional thing. And then other aspects about the Arizona border. I've never. That was my first time going to the border, so the fact that the wall. So everyone talks about the wall and all that stuff, and a couple of miles before the wall, there's a no trespassing sign or something. I don't know why they don't let people go look at the wall. I don't know, but it's Arizona. Everyone can go. It's part of the state. So we went and looked at the wall. The wall is every half a mile. Okay, so when we were driving, I saw an opening that was about, I would say, about 10 feet wide. It was an opening in the wall, like you could practically cross the wall. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe they did that so they can control the people who are coming over. So when they come over, they see them and they get them and take them in or whatever. I go, okay, well, and then we started driving, and then like every half a mile, I saw another opening, and then I saw another opening, and it kept on going for miles. And then whoever I asked, they gave me like a different explanation as why there's these openings. So they spend like $43 million per mile to make that
Mhm.
wall. And I asked one of the border patrol, I said, "What's the explanation for the opening here?" They said, "Well, for wildlife to go across back and forth." He didn't want to interview, but I was going to say, so then what's the purpose of the wall? Why are you going to let nature go back and forth? What is that for? And
Right.
then I was thinking, okay, if you're gonna do the wall, and then another person said it's because of the ravines and the water too. I get that you can't put like a cement in certain places, but then you can do diagonal, you can do different things. But it's just I didn't understand. But there's a lot of different aspects but this story is really not. I didn't edit it in a way to I co-edited with the editor Zach Taylor. He's a very good editor. So when we were editing this together, I didn't want this to be political. I mean, there's no sense to go about who did what. Is this religious? Even though the subject itself is political, I get that, but I didn't want to put who made the wall, or is this because religious reasons that they're coming in? But I didn't want to, because no matter what you do, when you start going on one side, there's always people on the other side that I just wanted to make it about this beautiful person, Shura that is such a great humanitarian. I mean, she goes out early in the morning, and she stays there till like pitch dark, and she's helping these people, gives them food, gives them water, gives them socks, gives them what they need. It's just, and the thing is, all the volunteers that I saw, they were all Caucasian.
Hmm.
Caucasian. I mean, they speak Spanish a little bit, but I'm wondering why there's not more people helping her. But she has a pretty big organization. There's a lot of people, but all of them that I saw, they were Caucasian, which I thought that was interesting. And by the way, she's a black belt in karate. She's 82 years old. She's black belt in karate. my background is karate too, so I kind of connected with her with martial arts and stuff like that. So she's a wonderful person.
That's awesome. And you guys are starting your campaign. You guys might be see if you guys get nominated for the Oscars. How's that going? And how's it? What's part of the campaign?
So what we're doing, we're promoting. Well, the voting is over. Voting was over on the 18th. So tomorrow they're going to announce the top 12. So the short list is going to be tomorrow. So we're hoping we get on the list tomorrow. And then thank you. So from the 12, and then they nominate. Sometimes they do six, sometimes they do eight. It all just depends. But they make a short list, and then the people go and vote again, and then they nominate the six or eight that they're going to nominate. So I'm just hoping I get on the list of 12. To me, that would be already is an accomplishment what we've achieved. But for her awareness, for people to realize, there's such a kind person out there doing what she does without any kind of. She's just doing it because she loves it. It's good for people to people here everywhere, everyone is so divided, and you can't really control and you can't change anyone's mind. Seeing
Mhm.
someone that's just so loving and just is willing to help without any kind of, it's good. I wish there were more people like that.
She sounds very inspiring. I'm
She
really
is.
looking forward to
She
seeing
is.
this film. Now, I was looking at you up on IMDb, and I'm a big fan of the Karate Kid, and I saw you did two documentaries on Pat Morita about him playing Miyagi. Can you talk a little bit about that
Oh,
as well?
sure, sure. So my partner, we started doing documentaries back in 2009, I think. I have kids, and I had responsibilities, so I couldn't really because documentaries you don't really make that much money. You do it for the love of it, and our company name is actually the Love Project Films. So we do things that we love. So one day we were just sitting around talking about. I told Oscar, I said, let's do some documentaries. I saw a documentary that was really good. It inspired me. He said, "So what do you want to do it about?" I said, "I like karate. Let's do something on karate." And he said, "I like kids. Let's do something on kids." I said, "Okay, let's do Karate Kids." So so we called it Empty Hand, which in Japanese means karate. And so we called it Empty Hand Karate, the real Karate Kids. So we followed five kids that went on their journey to become like world champions and all that stuff. And then I met my sensei at that tournament when we were filming in Florida. His name is Fumio Demura. He recently passed away. But he did all the stunts for Pat Morita. So when I saw him, I told him, "Hey, Sensei, I've been wanting to do documentary on your life and all the stuff that you achieved and all the people you helped. Like he taught Bruce Lee how to do the nunchucks, and he taught Steven Seagal. Whole bunch of people have been influenced by him. So I don't know how much he taught or what he did, but a lot of people were influenced by him. So I said, let's do a documentary. So when we did that documentary, that took a long time. That took like 4 to 6 years because we had to interview so many people. And then we met Pat Morita's wife because we needed the rights to use Pat Morita's likeness in The Karate Kid and all that stuff. So she had to sign a waiver. And then when the documentary was done, Netflix picked it up and she saw the documentary and she called me. She said, "Oh my God, I got so emotional watching this documentary. Can you do one on my husband?" I said, "Yes, I would love to do one on your husband." No, I don't like to do it. No. Yeah. So, and I said it's funny that you mentioned that because I met him one time when I was 12. He came to Sensei Demura's tournament before he did the Karate Kid when he was doing Happy Days. I think he went there to the tournament to do like research on karate in general. And then so I basically sat, I was like 12 years old, so I sat next to him and I started talking to him and he talked to me. He loved kids for some reason because he could relate to them and all the pain and suffering that he gone through. So, anyways, I just remember that moment, and it's kind of weird when you think about you're 12, you meet Pat Morita, and then when you get older, you do a documentary on his life. It's just the whole thing was very strange, especially for me. I grew up watching Happy Days, and I
Mhm.
ended up interviewing like all the people from Happy Days. For me, that was like it was surreal. It was like the Cunningham house. I'm going into Marion Ross's house, and I was telling my partner, Oscar, I said, would it be lovely if we go into her house? It's just like Happy Days. We sit down and she makes us cookies and lemonade and stuff like that. believe it or not, I swear, we go into her house. She said, "Hey guys, before you start doing the interviews, can you sit down for a second? I made you cookies and lemonade." That was like, it was my dream just came true, and everything like on her house and around her house, everything was like related to Happy Days and stuff like that. So um, that's how that came to be about, you know.
Well, that sounds really, really fun and really interesting. So I guess I have to ask you the follow up is what do you think of Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai, uh, you know what? Ralph is a lovely person. So is Zapka. They're very nice people. I actually watched all of it, and I like how they rekindled everything. It has, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch, and I respect that they incorporated Pat Morita's history and legacy into the series, so people who don't know who Pat Morita is, they get to know and they research on Pat and stuff like that. I think it was honestly because of Pat Morita that Karate Kid became what it was. Take out Pat, that story wouldn't have been, because they were thinking of using masters. Like they actually had up my master. They would, all the old masters from like the 60s and 70s, they were going to use real karate masters. They weren't going to use an actor.
Right.
So I think if it was Pat Morita wasn't in it, that film wouldn't have been good. So if there was no success in Karate Kid, there wouldn't have been Cobra Kai. So
But as Cobra Kai creates more interest in people looking back at your documentaries now that they know a little bit about him, has that given you any bump with your
oh,
documentary?
absolutely, absolutely. And Ralph was talking about that. He said not only that it's going to be good for us, it'll be good for you guys too. So I appreciate what they're doing. They're doing, from what I understand, there's a season 6 that's coming, and also they're remaking the Karate Kid, which I don't know how they're going to incorporate kung fu and karate into Karate Kid. So I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be interesting. And then there is talks about, well, I don't know if I should, maybe it's already out, I don't know. They're thinking of doing a series about Mr. Miyagi. I don't know, I heard from someone. So
That
I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, they do. Every time that comes out, people start watching our documentary, which is great.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Have you ever been to Palm Springs? Is this gonna be your first time, or you've been here a couple times?
Well, I've been to Palm Springs a lot, but I've never been to AM Film Festival. So that's gonna be my first time. So
Well, we're gonna love having you out here. We're gonna love watching your film. Um, I think that's gonna do it for right now, but I'm sure we'll be talking to you a couple more times before March.
oh, thank you.
And
That sounds good. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for taking our film. I really appreciate it.
we're also looking forward to seeing you at the Oscar ceremony. Knock on wood.
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I have a
Okay,
feeling it's gonna happen. We'll see tomorrow.
well, thank you very much. And again, we're looking forward to your film and learning about this remarkable woman. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much for having us. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.